There's one last thing for color correcting if you'd really like to try and get as close to accurate as possible. And that is select your skin tone layer or your blanket layer or your wall tone layer if necessary, but definitely the skin tone layer. And the first choice under colors is called color balance. If you're using Photoshop Elements, it's probably under the Enhance menu and Adjust Color. You'll find something in there called Color Balance, I hope, or Color Variations. And we'll choose the midtones for right now. And you'll notice that there's these sliders. Some of them may make a big difference. Some of them may make no difference at all. And so what you'll want to do is you'll want to play with the sliders to see if you can come up with a more realistic image of the baby. You'll notice that the sliders that I'm working on right now are just working on the skin tone layer. So I can do a number of things with cyan and red, and it's hardly making any effect at all. And that's simply because in the skin tone layer, it's not going to make very much difference. Whereas if you were to merge all these layers together, it would make a lot more difference. So I'm just going to cancel out of that for now. We'll go back to as it was before. I've saved my work, but now just to have a little bit more fun, I'm going to do a save as and call this version 2. Oh, let me just do that again. Save as there. So what I've done is I've saved as activity 6A. Well, I've put a -v2 in. You can see there's my folder where I'm saving it to, so it's all good. When I hit save, it'll ask me if I want to replace it. Yes, this time I do. And I'm just going to merge it all together. And so what you see in front of you, if I say flatten image or merge visible layers, that should be almost the same thing. This is all now one layer. This is like what it does with the JPEG or a PNG. Now the problem is if I want those layers back, I really need to edit undo right now. So edit, undo, and I get all my layers back. So that's why I've saved it as a different file name, is because if I'm going to merge or flatten all my layers or merge the visible layers, I can't go back unless I undo everything I'm going to do next. So for right now, that's why I save it as a new file. Highly recommend that at different days you come in, save it as a different file. And I'm just going to choose the color balance now. And what you'll see now as I adjust these is that all the different colors that are in this picture will get affected as I drag. Okay, and so if I keep dragging, you can see that it could end up quite horrible. Okay, I would consider that to be quite horrible. Meanwhile, you can also take them off to the other extreme where you're adding cyan, magenta, and yellow. But how I'm keeping these sliders together, it makes absolutely no sense. So maybe what you want is you want a tiny bit more red. Maybe you want to zero in on the magenta green and add a little bit more yellow. Okay. So in this case, because we're working on the whole picture is being affected by it. I highly don't recommend doing this, but just so you understand how color balance works, it's just literally adding or removing that color from these choices.